Welcome to the first edition of In the Huddle. I'm your host Xavier, and this is Ben, and this is John. We're here to give you your fantasy news and updates. So Ben and John, how did you guys' team do over the week?
Well, both my teams lost at the feet of the kickers for both the Jaguars and the Ravens. How about you, John?
Well, I'm coming from a loss, but I think I'm going to win this week. It's looking pretty good. So I got some of my players back from the bye weeks.
Yeah, kickers can be a very important game. I mean, if it's like low scoring, all they're doing is kicking field goals. So
yeah.
I think sometimes you got to be a kicker.
50 yarders are big.
Think of Phil Dawson for the Browns. I mean, if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have won.
That's true.
Yeah, but it would have been a tie because Hauschka was the reason why the Seattle Seahawks scored either in that game.
That's true.
On to the studs of the week. My stud of the week is DeMarco Murray. He's a running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He ran 253 yards on 25 carries, and he had a touchdown. He also broke the record that Emmitt Smith set for the single games. I mean, he is a rookie, and that was an amazing performance that he had. What do you guys think of that?
I think it's ridiculous. I think it was a fluke. I think this week he's not even going to do nearly the same. Especially with Julio Jones coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, Julio Jones is injured. He comes back. I don't think it's this week, but I think he'll be back next week.
I mean, I wouldn't say to everybody go pick him up because he had one good game, but he is a good running back, and that was just amazing what he did, even just for a rookie.
I think you guys are right. He is a stud, but I think there are other studs better than him, like you're saying. I agree with both you guys. You can pick up better people than that. You can find somebody better. But for a rookie, he is doing very exceptionally well.
Okay, Jonathan, on with Duds of the Week.
Well, my dud of the week is definitely Josh Freeman. Josh Freeman from Tampa Bay threw 4 interceptions in one game. He also has the league high of 10 interceptions. What do you guys think of that?
I mean, well, he does play for Tampa Bay, and their team is like really shaky. I remember he had so much hype, but I don't think he's that great of a quarterback in the first place.
Don't let the interceptions fool you, though. I mean, they did that against the Bears, who have a pretty tough defense with Urlacher and those other guys. Plus, they were playing in they were playing in London.
Yeah.
So that was tough too last week. I mean, while he does lead the league with 10, I know Orton before he got benched had 7.
Right. And
that's a week before Freeman had his full 10, and. I know Philip Rivers, he's had a slow start, and he has, 7 or 8 interceptions.
And he's a good quarterback.
You can't really judge it solely based on interceptions, but that is a stat you have to watch. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
He was marked Dud of the Week by ESPN.com.
Yeah, I can see that. For fantasy reasons, it makes sense, definitely.
I think another Dud of the Week would be Oakland Raiders quarterbacks, Carson Palmer and the one that started. Carson didn't start, but he came in. But they both threw 3 interceptions apiece.
Yeah, that was definitely very disappointing. Like, everybody was expecting Carson Palmer to get here, to get to Oakland and do so well and start just going at it. Like, he came from Cincinnati. That's a good team. They're not bad. And Oakland is winning. I mean, they just beat the Browns when he came there. So
Cincinnati's better now that he's gone, in my opinion.
He was a distraction. He was a distraction.
Yeah, Palmer. Yeah, he's learning a new offense, but Kyle Bullard just did deplorable starting in front of him, and that's why they put Palmer in. And of course, Palmer threw just as many interceptions. So, yeah, that was just that team was the dud of the week, in my opinion.
So, Ben, what do you think about the injury report this week?
Well, my injury report player to watch would be Alphonso Smith, because Chris Beanie Wells for the Arizona Cardinals got injured last week, and he's supposed to be out. So I'd watch Alphonso Smith. He's supposed to get 50 yards and a touchdown, which is pretty solid fantasy numbers, especially if your team is struggling. If your team's struggling and if you look to get a touchdown and a good bit of yards, I'd definitely look to him.
They're playing Pittsburgh, right?
No, they played Pittsburgh last week. They play Baltimore this week, which is an even tougher defense this year.
Yeah, that's a rough defense.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good pickup, but it's going to be a rough game.
Yeah, that's why his projections are kind of low on the yards end by ESPN. So
I think there are a lot of important injured players this week for some reason. A lot of good players are getting injured.
Yeah, it's definitely
He's definitely one of the major ones.
Yeah,
but there are some other ones too.
Yeah, and I'd look at DeMarco Murray, as we mentioned earlier. He's a player to watch because he is filling in for an injured player. So just look for those for the injury players. So
to pick up.
Yeah.
So, John, what do you think this is? Yes, ma'am. So what do you think the sleeper pick of the week is?
My sleeper pick of the week is definitely Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow had 3.5 bad quarters. He did come back from a 15-0 deficit with 65 rushing yards, 116 passing, and put the game into overtime for the 18-15 win. What do you guys think about that?
That was just an ugly, ugly game. I mean, he had a lot of hype, and overall he got the win, but it wasn't what I was expecting from Tim Tebow. I mean, his expectations are high, but I didn't think it was just going to be that sloppy of a
Definitely.
game.
He was all over the news, newspapers, all over ESPN.com and everything. Like, they had all sorts of hype for him. And
I mean, he wasn't the first quarterback taken in that draft. There were other quarterbacks that were taken in that draft, and we look at Cam Newton as a guy who had a lot of hype. That's because he was drafted at number 1, and
right.
Well, until this year they had ridiculous contracts that they got, but because of the lockout and the changes, they got lesser contracts. But still, they're getting millions of dollars for not even playing yet. I mean, if you look at that same draft, Sam Bradford was the first overall pick.
Yeah.
You can see these guys had a lot of hype. Well, Tebow was drafted late in the first round. I don't get why he got so much pressure, like, just for being Tim Tebow, because a lot of people don't like him for whatever reason. I haven't found out a legitimate reason why people don't like him.
Well,
but I still think 2 touchdowns and, a ton of yards like that is a good bit of yards to.
Being a Broncos fan, are you any disappointed in Tim Tebow at all?
No, I mean, yeah, he did have a slow start, but he also hasn't started since Week 17 of last year against teams that were just reeling it in because they were trying to go to the draft.
True.
So we don't really have a good, stance on him. And then last week, or 3 weeks ago against San Diego, I mean, he was just
he had some disappointing quarters, but he did manage to come back from it.
I mean, yeah, it's his first start. I'm looking for more from him still, but it was just...
Oh, yeah, definitely. That's why I chose him as a sleeper pick, because he does have potential going into this week against Detroit.
Yeah.
All right, Ben, who are you going to put for Don't Get Down on this week?
Don't Get Down on is a segment that I chose to do because there are players that are really good but have disappointing seasons or disappointing weeks, and people start to get down on them and want to trade them. My player that I picked this week was Chris Johnson. He's been disappointing this year, only having 1 touchdown so far and just really looking out of shape. But I do believe against the Colts this week, being the worst rated defense of the league, that he can really pick himself up and start going again. What do you think, guys?
I think he should have a stellar game. I mean, did you see the Saints on them? And that was just all passing, basically. But you saw Darren Sproles and
I have
the running backs just tearing the Colts up. So I think he might even have a bigger game than what ESPN is projecting. I mean, he is a very, very good running back. So I could see him just tearing it up.
I definitely see him. That's a very conservative pick for only 2 touchdowns in the yards that he gets, or the 1 touchdown and the 80 rushing yards that they're predicting for him. I mean, Darren Sproles last week, he was on my fantasy team, so I should know. He had a couple of touchdowns and he had a lot of yards, so we should definitely look for him to have a good week.
Who is Tennessee looking at playing this week?
The Colts.
The Colts?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the Saints playing the Colts.
Well, the Colts don't have that great of a defense. Like, they have a solid defense, but not a great defense. So I think
due to injuries and
especially
other problems that are going on,
especially when they start facing the running game, like, I don't know why, but they let a lot of runs get behind the line, and that's unsuccessful.
They just look pitiful, and I really think they're reeling it in because they just want that top pick because they have stopped believing in Peyton Manning coming back. They think he's done, so they're just reeling it in and saying, "Look, guys, without Manning, this team is nothing." And I really think they're quitting. I don't think the defense is that bad. They just don't care about playing this season.
They're not going anywhere. They just gave up hope.
There have been speculations about them being that team that's trying to quit and get the number 1 pick in the draft, which, if they are, that's really sorry reason.
I think that the Colts have relied too much on Peyton Manning. They've always been looking at him to be their star, to be their leader, and then all of a sudden he gets injured for a few weeks in a season, and the Colts just start doing horrible.
Well, I mean, they really did rely on him. I can understand the offense. I mean, he's done for the season. He had his vertebrae fused, and in my opinion, I don't think he's coming back. I mean, he's on the wrong side of 30, and he's going downhill. I mean, he's going to be first ballot Hall of Famer, of course,
Yes.
but I really think I think his career is over. And I mean, they're looking to get Andrew Luck or one of the other good quarterbacks that will be in the draft, but I don't know. We'll have to see how they do the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Okay, on the picks of the week. This week we're focusing on QBs. My pick of the week would be Drew Brees. He's playing the St. Louis Rams, and he's projected to have another big game. I don't think it's going to be as huge as it was when they played the Colts last week, but it should be another stellar performance, and he's always a playmaker. Who would you guys' picks of the week?
My pick of the week would be Matt Stafford. I mean, he's playing at Denver, and while I even have to admit that Champ Bailey's getting old and Cassius Vaughn and the rest of that secondary it's really not looking the greatest. And Stafford is coming off 2 straight losses. He's going to look to bounce back, and I think this offense is going to have a field day. Look for Calvin Johnson and Nate Burleson to have good days too, but I think that Burleson will. That Stafford, will have a great week and get on that bounce back trail.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chuck?
I have to go back to my sleeper pick. I have to go back to Tim Tebow. Why? Because he is going against Detroit and your pick, and I think it's going to be a very good matchup. I think honestly that when the Lions defense goes against Tebow, it's going to be a pretty good matchup, and the passing game is pretty good with Tebow. I mean, he's not a bad passer.
Yeah, and I really think Detroit's defense is really good, but it's mainly the line. The other 5-6 guys in the secondary really, they're all right, but they're not the greatest. So I mean, look for Tebow to have a good passing day too. I really think that's going to be a great matchup to watch. It's in Denver, so that gives Denver that much of an advantage because that crowd there is really crazy every week, even if they're 0-15.
And that's
they've never been.
And that's what I mean. Like when they go against a strong running offense, they have a great successful defensive game. When they go against a passing team, it starts to lack a little bit, and it shows.
They don't look as stellar. I mean, it's hard to compare their line to the rest of the team because I mean that line is just something you dream about creating in your head, and it's like your team on Madden that you pick. It's the fantasy draft, and you're picking and. You get all those guys on your line because the computer is busy picking other positions. But,
Well, I like that because with a good line, you also have a quarterback that's able to juke out and get up.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. Tebow is not afraid at all to get out of the pocket.
Yeah,
he will dash all the way to the sideline and still throw the ball.
I mean, he had 7 sacks last week, which is mainly the line's fault. But he really should have read the defense better those plays. Yeah. But also, if you look, just as many times as he got sacked, he evaded the sack. Like on the 1 touchdown pass he had, he looped around the defender and threw the ball in the end zone and fell. So, I mean, it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch the pass rush on Tebow.
Yeah, I'm looking for him to stay more in the pocket and do more passes. But, I mean, if the line is not holding up, I mean, it's always good to have a quarterback that can evade and get out of the pocket and run away with the ball.
At the same time, we do have to look at your pick of the week, too, and say that he is a very good quarterback going against the Denver's defense.
Yeah, Stafford will have a great game.
All right. Thanks for tuning into the show. For Ben and John, I'm your host, Xavier. Be sure to catch the show next week in the Huddle. Hut, hut!